So Chloe, I think if we're thinking about measurement, tell me how you feel that that's changed over time. We've both been in PR for a long time now. So what do you sort of think that how things have gone and the landscape as it is now?
I think PR measurement's really interesting. And I do feel that out of most aspects of public relations, measurement is the one that's undergone quite a seismic change, especially in the last 5 to 10 years. And I think it's a real shift in terms of a positive outcome. No longer is the industry purely focused on sort of numbers of articles and measuring with sort of like the dreaded AVE figure that we've moved away from. We've naturally shifted to looking at more digital and online platforms, which opens up, a huge toolbox of measurement that drives transparency with clients. It drives improved measurement and return on investment, and we can be much more accurate in terms of what we're reporting. In addition, I think understanding the digital space in terms of what domain authority is, the difference between links and no links, looking at referral traffic, that all becomes much more important in terms of measurement. And when we work with our brand partners, it's working with them to understand what the best metrics are for their business. And there's not one size fits all.
No, and I think Google Analytics can come into that a lot as well. So if somebody does click through to your website from a press release or a news article, how long are they spending on your website? What pages are they visiting? How many they're visiting? What's their journey through that website? And that actually you can gain a much bigger sort of outlook on what that person's doing, the things they're looking at and their journey, if they then lead to attend an event or download something from your website, that actually we can get much more of a scope of what they're doing, whether they're a customer or not. But actually, reaching that audience and finding out what they're doing when they get to the website as well.
I think if we kind of take a bit of a step back, and I know that PR measurement does still give a lot of concern. I think looking at a report by PR Week, we understand that a third of PR professionals across the whole of Europe still rank PR measurement as a top concern. And I think it doesn't have to be. And I think it's about breaking down those measurement types in terms of what's important to the business. If we take a step back and kind of take a look at what measurement is, what would you say, Bex?
I think it depends on a customer's needs. I think as a client partner, for example, you will want them to do specific things. It might be that you're sending out a press release because you want people to come to a particular event. So then you're looking at footfall, and would you then measure essentially that journey that they take to then attend the event, or whether you're issuing a piece of news that's got an amazing photo and you want that photo to be what's sort of reproduced on different news websites. I think we're looking at things like not only like reach, but the quality of those the websites and the media that's running stuff as well. Let's not forget that it isn't just digital. There are still print media titles that hold a lot of weight. They have specific sort of audiences. A lot of our work is in the marine industry. There's lots of those titles where people are really loyal readers, and they love to pick up that magazine and read it. And those audiences for some of our brand partners will always be crucial. It doesn't mean that we should discount them. There are other industries where it's become less important purely because of the churn of news and how fast it moves.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't fit with them.
I think, we talk a lot about kind of that holistic measurement and making sure that, if there is a shift away from just purely the amount of articles that are produced, it's making sure that we are capturing all of our efforts during, a defined period so that we can then report on that.
Let's talk about how link building affects SEO, particularly sort of when we relate it to PR.
Sure. Well, we know that some websites have a higher domain authority and therefore a higher SEO value. And I think it comes down to your digital strategy, and having a really, really solid digital strategy is about identifying the target media first of all, identifying which media types have the best, demographics, the best audience for our brand partners. And also it comes down to relationships. We've really moved away from putting together press releases and just sending them out. The industry's really shifted from that standpoint. Relationships allow us to kind of unlock opportunities, and developing relationships over many, many years is extremely valuable, and it's something that we do a lot of here.
Yeah, I think if we think about that press release point and how we try many different ways to get lots of different types of coverage for the brand partners. For example, any of our marine clients where they might have yachts, if they're launching a new yacht and we do a sea trial, having that third party endorsement of a journalist going on that yacht and doing a review. They really know their stuff. This isn't somebody just going on the yacht and having a trip out on the water. They're testing it as if they were a buyer. And having that third party endorsement for that brand really brings a third dimension to the coverage. It's a customer being able to really read what someone thinks about it. It's
Absolutely.
not PR gumph.
Yeah.
It's not sort of just marketing, hot air. It is really drilling down to the ins and outs. And there's always that risk that it might not be, 100% positive. They might do comparisons with other brands that are at the same level. But actually, the whole point is that they're giving that true review. And I guess from a customer and potential buyer point of view, that's really valuable coverage for us.
I think you could even say it comes down to the age-old saying of quality versus quantity, and targeting those that do have the high domain authority. There's been many instances where we work with specific media titles, primarily online, to make sure that we give them exclusives in order to get the most in-depth coverage off the back of it, and that works extremely well.
Yeah, and it being in the right place as well. It really is about quality, not quantity. If we're sending out a press release, I don't think, necessarily having KPIs for brand partners of X amount of pieces is where it should lie. It should be, where do you want to be? Where is the right place for that coverage to appear? Yeah. And what's your ultimate goal, as it were? What does good look like to you? And then we can tailor our approach around that to make sure that they're getting the results that they want.
Absolutely. So we often talk about the Barcelona Principles. We talk it through with our brand partners because it often comes up. Essentially, there's no one single metric for public relations and the output. But there is, however, a framework, and that framework was only recently set up. We're actually in, I think, the third version of the Barcelona Principles. And the key outtakes, essentially, is identifying outtakes, outputs, and identifying the value. Interestingly, one thing with the Barcelona Principle is that it's very clear on its guidance around AVE that it shouldn't be measured and it shouldn't be reported on. And lastly, the other interesting area is the holistic part that I mentioned earlier. It's the holistic measurement is more important than ever.
Yeah. Just referring back actually to the AVE part, CIPR and the award entries, they don't actually allow you to input it and you as your award entry, and a sort of measurement, you'd have to discount it immediately. So kind of shows you what the industry is looking at and what they value and perceive to be quality now, and that just doesn't come into it at all.
So in terms of how we start the process with our brand partners, obviously every business is different. Everyone will have very different objectives. But if a brand partner is able to give us clear, measurable business objectives, any audience insight, obviously we'll go away and do our own audience insight and come back with recommendations. And then equally, giving us access to Google Analytics is really important in terms of measurement. What we're able to do off the back of it is create campaigns that are tailored to their audience and their business objectives, but also we can measure and give tangible return on investment.
Yeah, and I think if you think about that business objective part, there are instances where, for example, you might have certain sort of pillars in a corporate strategy that actually any coverage that we get, and they've got key messages that they want to be included as part of an objective, as a KPI, that actually we can work with them to make sure that aligns. So every single brand partner's got completely different KPIs that fit their businesses. And whether that's, to raise brand awareness, to increase sales, everybody's got something that's different and unique to them. So every bit of strategy that we're going to do in our approach is going to be tailored to what they need. Yeah. So you and I have been in PR for nearly 20 years each now. Yeah. What does the future look like?
So PR measurement has gone through such a seismic shift, and I think it's a really interesting phase that we'll go through in the next sort of 5 to 10 years. We're much more data driven, and that only leads to greater transparency and accuracy.
And I think actually, it's really exciting when we think about our brand partners and trying to put together all those sort of KPIs that will meet their goals as a business and make sure that we can give them the results that they are looking for.